What is your type? When it comes to choosing a woman to share your life with, what would you want your future wife to look like? Many men would argue they have multiple types, or that they don't know, or perhaps they have an idea of what they want, but when you peel back the layers, oftentimes their type is rooted in rejection or fantasy from lust, which gives them a very flawed view of women, and the standard they set is idealistic and rooted in selfishness, which isn't natural. But in this video, I'm going to teach you exactly how to discover your type so that you can find a woman that is right for you. And I'm also going to share some pictures of me and my spouse so that you can see what me and her look like and why physical attraction is important, why having a type is important. So we're going to start with why mutual physical attraction is essential for marriage. Then I'm going to break down the misconceptions that men have when it comes to finding a type. And then finally, I'm going to give you the exact blueprint that you need to be looking for and the example of myself. So this is very important information. If you don't know what your type is, you need to pay close attention because this is going to be vital as you move forward. The amount of men and women I have seen over the years in my practice by coaching them, I cannot tell you how many lives I have seen wasted and ruined on getting into a one-sided relationship or giving someone a chance that you don't find attractive, or deep down you know they don't actually like you, but you're dating them anyway. And it hurts because you limit the connection you will ever have with that person, which destroys relationships. So getting clear on what your type is before you even get into a relationship is going to greatly enhance your success when it comes to your dating life. So let's start with a Bible verse that encompasses the theme of this video, and we're going to get right into it. Proverbs 5 verse 18 through 19 gives us an example of raw sexual desire between husband and wife, showing us that this is natural and necessary. It tells us that, let your fountain be blessed and rejoice with the wife of your youth. Let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love. See, a lot of people get the idea of sexual purity wrong. Sexual purity isn't just abstinence and waiting until marriage, but sexual purity is having the right intentions behind sex. God made sex as a wonderful thing that a man and a woman can enjoy in commitment. It's supposed to bond you and make intimacy more powerful. But if you don't find each other physically attractive to begin with, you ain't going to want to be intimate, and it's not going to make much difference. And this Proverbs gives us a very good example. When a husband and wife desire each other, you're going to keep coming back for more. That you're going to want to be satisfied by her all the days of your life, and for the ladies, vice versa. So physical attraction is normal. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And if you're going to share your life with someone, you better get serious on this. So, mutual physical attraction is essential for marriage for two reasons. It's natural and it's necessary. The reason why it's natural is because God has given us eyes to marvel at his creation. More specifically, men and women are made for each other. So when it comes to marriage, why would God want a man and a woman to come together, share their lives, if they didn't even find each other attractive in the first place? How would you have the desire to grow closer? It doesn't make any sense, does it? But this is what these modern dating coaches and all this advice will tell you nowadays. Oh, attraction's not that important. Just find someone you have things in common with. That's great, but physical desire is important too. In fact, physical desire is the initial point of interest. It's the beginning of intimacy. If there is no initial physical desire, how can there ever be an incentive to truly interact, communicate, or get to know each other with the right intention of commitment? How would you feel if a woman wanted to marry you and she doesn't even think you're handsome? You would never feel desired as a man, but yet many men do that to themselves. Furthermore, some men They go for a woman that's crazy about him. It strokes his ego, but he doesn't think she's attractive. So he ends up hurting her, and in the end himself as well. So it's not fair to do this to someone, to settle for someone, or for someone to settle for you. The reality is, every man has a type that he finds attractive in relation to a woman's appearance. For the ladies, it goes the same way. We are attracted to certain features in a woman that sparks raw physical desire. For me, I like blue eyes. I like that light brownish, blondish hair in a woman. I'm a white European man, Caucasian. I'm attracted to my same race, a Caucasian white woman. It's biological. You want your children to look like you. You want your descendants to be able to look back through their bloodline and see that there's relationship there, that there's similarity, that these features get passed down. This has been natural for human history. But yet we're telling young men and women that your looks don't matter, that you should find someone that's That's not natural. If you truly don't believe that a woman is beautiful, then how would you want to get to know her or be intimate with her? This is why so many relationships or marriages get stuck and they can't grow deeper. They limit this emotional attraction. They limit the connection they develop because physically there was nothing there to begin with. People settle. So physical attraction it's the ignition, it's the spark, it's the initial point of interest. It's that curiosity, that wonder that you get between a man and woman. When you meet them, you find them hot. You want to get to know them. If you didn't find them attractive, why would you get to know them? Because you have low self-esteem. Because you think it's better than being alone. Because you think you won't get better. That's why. And when you approach dating from that point of view, you throw in the towel and you give up. This is how you end up in a sexless marriage. This is where your children grow up and they don't respect the father. They don't respect the mother because mum and dad don't love each other first because they don't find each other attractive oftentimes. There are other reasons why, obviously, relationships fail and couples fall out of love because they don't communicate, they don't court each other. Topic for another day. But physically speaking, this is something you can't change. You can't change communication skills. A man can start treating his wife properly, or the wife can start following the man's lead. Yes, that can change a relationship. But without physical desire, that's not going to stick. So, physical attraction alone is not going to be enough to maintain a bond. But it is a key component that plays an essential but natural part in marriage. Because you also need to be compatible. Once you have desire and you have shared values and belief system, then you can come together, build a life, and enjoy sex and intimacy because you find each other attractive. So that's the first reason why having a type, finding a woman attractive is important. It's natural. The next reason is because it's necessary. God has given us sexual desire for it to be directed righteously towards our spouse. It is necessary that a husband and wife crave each other sexually, as we saw in the Bible verse. Or else, what is the point of them coming together in the first place? How is there any interest to make love? How can you even bear children with a spouse that you don't even want to lay in bed with? Where's the interest to hold hands, share a kiss, embrace each other's warmth without mutual desire? If you met a woman that you think is a 1 out of 10, you're not going to want to be intimate. If I give you 2 options, girl number 1 is a 1, the second woman is a 10 out of 10, and you both share the same values, which one are you going to get to know? The 1 or the 10? The 10. And the ladies, they're honest, they'll tell you the same thing. They'll choose the guy that's a 10. Because you can't really change your looks. Okay, you can't really make someone like you back. They do or they don't. It's initial. Attraction is there. It can be uncovered and revealed. It can't be raised if there's no initial desire to begin with. That's why physical attraction is important. People can change their values. People can become more compatible to a degree. If they get right with the Lord and want the same things in life, right? The man stays masculine, the woman stays feminine. But without physical attraction, they're not going to really care about those qualities. If an ugly woman approaches you and she's feminine and sweet, that's great, sweetheart, but you're ugly. I'm not interested in you. That's reality. But if a beautiful woman's talking to you and she's feminine, now her feminine qualities matter to you. Why? Because the desire makes it possible for you to see it and appreciate it. Same thing for women. If you approach her and you're ugly, she doesn't like you, right? And you're all masculine, it doesn't matter how dominant and confident you are if you're a 1 in her eyes. But if you're an 8 or a 9 and you're dominant and masculine, now your masculinity matters to her because you're hot. But if you were hot and you lack masculinity, then she'll be excited to see you. And then once you start acting like a weak little boy, then she dries up and loses interest. Because what a shame. He's attractive, but he's not a man. This is what I'm saying. Looks get you in the door, but they only matter if you are compatible, if you really are masculine, okay? So if a man or a woman settle for each other in regards to their appearance, yet they are compatible, then their emotional attraction can only develop so far. So physical desire is the initial reason why a man or a woman with standards would even consider having a conversation with each other. Without it, there's no genuine possibility of maintaining or developing interest. I would never waste my time with a woman that I don't find attractive because it's not fair to her. I'm never going to want to be intimate with her or romance her. I have low interest and it isn't going to grow because I don't desire her. Even if she desires me, that's her own interest. It's not fair. So I teach guys, my clients who are in my relationship mastery course, to understand this stuff on a deep level because you need to get clear on what your type is so that you have an honorable, true, moral standard that you stand on. I deserve a woman that finds me attractive, who I find attractive too. If not, you're wasting your time. So, and I put this in dark black to highlight it, right? Because it's very important. When there is mutual attraction and there is mutual compatibility, this is when you can really develop feelings, connection, trust, respect, and it can keep growing. Because love is only going to blossom with these ingredients. If one or both spouses settle for each other, whether it's physical attraction, then you can be sure that the overall fulfillment of your marriage will forever be limited. You'll become buddies and roommates, but you won't be passionate lovers. Because sex is meant to be enjoyed within the confines of marriage. God created matrimony to bring man and woman together so they can enjoy their lives with a special touch of intimacy reserved for each other. That's why it's so sacred. That's why it's highly valued. That's why we all crave someone that values their purity. That's just for us, because you're sharing your life with one woman. So when guys tell me, I like all sorts of women, blacks, Latinas, Asians, whites, I'm like, okay, bro, but you're marrying one. Which one are you dating? Which one are you marrying? The Latina, the Asian, the black, the mixed one? Which one is it? Get clear on it. Because if you like one more than the other and you feel like you're missing out, it's going to limit how faithful you could be to that woman. You're going to struggle with that sin. But if you choose a woman that is exactly what you want, you don't want to look at anyone else. You want to give her your all because she's what you want. Same thing the other way around. If you are her type, of course she wants to give you her everything. But if she settles, she's going to kind of throw in the towel. Maybe I'm missing out. Maybe the grass is greener. The reality is, guys, the grass is never going to be greener. Okay? Cheating is wrong. But it does happen. And the grass is only green where you water it. So you might as well buy a garden that you love. And then you nurture it. Don't settle. Physical desire, it's natural and necessary. It's important. So now let's get into the misconceptions about type. Because many men and women waste years of their lives being involved with a romantic partner that is not their real type. So you never want to base your standard of beauty on unrighteousness. Okay, so now you know, okay, physical desire is necessary. It's necessary for me to find my future wife desirable. And it's natural. I have a right to desire her, and vice versa. I see this especially with Christian people that are more traditional. They look at sex, they look at physical attraction as something dirty or unclean. So they choose someone that looks like a hippo, but they're cute. They're sweet, right? Not cute, because their hippos aren't cute, right? Ugly animals. but they're sweet. Oh, they're so sweet and lovely, but he's not attractive, or oh, she's kind of not good looking. And then you marry, then it's like, well, I guess we'll stay in it for the kids. You don't want that. If you're going to share your life with your spouse, you damn well better find her beautiful. She damn well better find you handsome. So there are two routes by which men develop unhealthy, immoral types for women. Fantasy and rejection. And they're always connected with lust. So let's start with fantasy. Young men are often raised on pornography to sexualize women. And when you get deep into this lifestyle and you start self-pleasuring, you start masturbating, you start to lust after women, you start to see women as objects. And oftentimes when you're watching this type of content, the dopamine hit needs to be stronger each time. So men end up developing immoral sexual fetishes. They need more and more. And they're looking at tens of thousands, maybe even more, hundreds of thousands of women that look different. So they don't really have a type. This is why when I hear guys tell me, I don't really have a type, Christian, but I know they struggle with pornography and masturbation, this is where it's coming from. You've seen so many different women in such a lustful way that you think you can have your pick. You don't know what you actually desire. It's just become a fetish. It's just become a plaything to you. So actually take some time and sit there. Do you actually desire a type of woman? Or do you not have a type because you've watched so much content online that's skewered your view of women, of beauty? There are other guys that go a different way with pornography. They don't just fantasize over different types of women. They develop a very specific type. So maybe they only like blonde women or Latinas or Asian women because of a specific type of fetish they develop because of the damage they've done over watching pornography over the years. And again, I've seen it with lots of guys, especially in the West. They watch all this weird anime stuff and then they like Asians. And they get into all this weird, sick stuff that I'm not going to mention, but it fetishizes Asian women. And they don't really they don't even like Asian women. It's just because they've conditioned themselves to like that. And once I get them to stop watching that type of content and they remove that lust, that fantasy fades. And they realize it wasn't natural. It was in their mind. Because when you keep your eyes on a certain type of woman in a very selfish, lustful way from watching pornography, you start to think that you like it. Oh, she is my type. I want her. That's what I want in a woman. But it's not. Because it's a fantasy, it's become this object in your mind, this goal that you need to get. And oftentimes, once you get that type of woman, you'll realize you were never attracted to her. It's just the fantasy that lust made you want her. So a lot of guys develop a fetish because of this. And I'm telling you right now, before you go finding a wife, make sure you get this cleared out. Because your type rooted in pornography isn't natural. And it will cause more problems in your marriage. Because you're not actually attracted to that woman. Or you start acting like a simp or an incel. So you settle. Very dangerous. The second route by which men have a misconception about what a type is because they've been rejected. There are men out there who've never been successful in getting a woman to like them back. They've never had a woman show them actual interest. And it's usually in their childhood when they got rejected. I've even had cases of clients, guys who, when they were like 15, 16, liked a specific type of woman and that girl rejected them and they never got over it. They obsessed over it because rejection, when it's not healed, breeds obsession. And because of that obsession, over the years, they start to fetishize that type of woman that rejected them. So they only date women that try and look like that girl to convince themselves, if I can get a girl like that to commit to me and love me, now I can let go of that insecurity that I wasn't good enough, because I'm good enough because I got the girl. But once they get that woman, they realize they don't actually care about that woman. They just wanted to satisfy their ego. And oftentimes they look back and realize, wow, I've hurt this girl I'm with because I just fetishized her. I didn't actually find it attractive. I was just trying to soothe my ego from years ago that was hurt. And I've seen guys waste men in their 30s waste a good 10, 15 years of their lives because they didn't get over a childhood crush. I even noticed with myself when I was a young boy, 13, 14. There was a young blonde girl in my school, my class. I really liked her. And she went for a different guy. So when I was a teenager, I was sad and I had low self-esteem, and I wanted her to like me. So for many years, I developed a weird fetish towards blonde women, specifically blonde women. And I wouldn't date anything else. That's all I wanted. And once I got that sort of woman, I realized I was just idealizing and fantasizing over it because of rejection I had. And now that I got the woman, it disappeared, it vanished. I didn't want her anymore. But I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be that way for you. Get over it. Forgive and let go. Accept Christ and just move on. That's how you can do it as well. Because this, chasing after a crush or a type that you developed in your childhood, a woman, the one that got away, the woman that you could never really get, she was almost out of your reach, out of your league, that creates a rejection in your mind. And that lust creates that fantasy, and it becomes low self-esteem. So then when you go out and date a woman, that's what you're looking for. But that's not the right reason for doing it, because you don't actually desire her. You're just doing it for yourself. So understand that fantasy and rejection paired with lust creates a selfish obsession on specific physical traits that we are often not naturally attracted to. Once you improve your health, once you remove your lust and you remove this material, you'll look back and go, wow, that girl was never my type. I'm not attracted to that sort of woman at all anymore. It was wrong. Because you know your intentions weren't pure. For this reason, a lot of men develop an unrealistic physical expectation from women to the point where they aren't even attracted to natural women anymore. A lot of men are so deep into this, they want women that have all the makeup on. So they change their appearance. They fetishize that. Some guys, they like women that have all the plastic surgery. Women that have boob jobs and lip jobs. They like fake looking women because they've looked at all this manga and pornography and all this weird stuff men get into. And that's what they think a woman should look like. And that's their standard. And they think that's their type. It's not. God did not design you to lust after that. That's wrong. Because lust is wrongfully directed sexual desire. And what I want you to do is righteously direct that sexual desire in the right way to a natural, pure woman that is your type, which we're going to get to in a second. So understand, these are the misconceptions about type. Sit down and ask yourself, do you struggle with any of this? Because I have clients, and after working with them for a few months, they tell me, yeah, Christian, I'm not attracted to Asian women anymore. I only had that fantasy because of pornography. And they let it go. And they do find a woman that is their type, which is more or less their physical attributes. A lot of guys, when they heal from that rejection, they get over it. So ask yourself, if there's anything like this that you're dealing with, it's time to let it go. And thirdly, how do you discover your type? Our attraction to certain physical features is actually hardwired into our brains. It's called homogamy. And there are studies that have been done on this. And it's the idea that we seek out a partner who resembles our own physical attributes. This is biologically ingrained into our psyche. It's called in-group preferences. Most men and women date within their own race. Back in the day, if there's no paternity test, how could you tell if the kid's yours if the parents are mixed? One of the parents ain't going to look like one of the kids. Well, the kids won't look like one of the parents. So the bloodline, the legacy, would then be broken. You couldn't trace it. Kids wouldn't look like the parents. The progeny's been destroyed. That's why purity, in the sense of coming from the same bloodline, it could be traced back. Parents, grandparents, great-great-grandparents, there were certain physical traits, whether it was an eye color, shape of the face, hair, wavy, whatever, skin tone, whatever, it was all connected. You could see they were the same family, the same bloodline. And that's actually ingrained into our psyche. Most men and women want their children to look like them. If you don't, there is something seriously wrong with you. Most likely rejection or fantasy. You don't value your own culture, your own heritage, because this is natural. It's always been like that throughout human history. Out-group preferences are very rare. Out-group preferences usually come from a fantasy or a rejection based on lust. You reject your culture. You fantasize about a different physical traits because it looks different to yours and you crave it in an unusual way. Are there exceptions where that works for people? There are, but it's very rare, and it is actually very unnatural throughout human history. Okay? So when you court and you marry someone of same physical traits, the looks, the attraction is balanced. You desire each other. So all the studies that have been done on demographics tell us that most men and women actually prefer to marry someone who has the same physical traits as them. My example of what I like in a woman, and it took me years to really get this sorted, I myself have like brown, blue eyes. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, I like light brown to blonde, blue eyes, white, Caucasian, and I do prefer European culture, not American or Canadian or Australian, European like me, because I'm going to relate to her more, I'm going to bond with her more. So furthermore, when I go through some pictures, you see me and my girlfriend, my spouse, I'm showing you here on the screen. See, I have the blue eyes, she's got blue eyes and the brown hair. We're similar, okay? See, here's another picture of us in the snow. It's cold. And then up in the mountain somewhere together. As you can see, we have very similar features, and a lot of people often tell us, you both look very similar. I'm her type. She says I'm a 10 out of 10, and to me, she's a 10 out of 10. That may not be the same for you, but we look similar. So the heritage, the traits, it all adds up. Okay. And here's another picture of us, you can see. And yeah, I'm English Polish and she's Estonian. So European, but we're each other's type. Blue eyes, the brown hair, the European heritage, it just adds up. When we have children, they'll look very similar to us. They will be identified as our children because they are of the same heritage, of the same race, of similar characteristics. The Bible even talks about this in the book of Ezekiel, that daughters should look like their mothers. That's only going to happen if they're from the same bloodline. Your children should look like you. This is what I want you to understand. This all connects. So, what is your type? If you want something unnatural in a woman that's not found in nature, something from some weird lust or some porn thing or some fetish you developed, or you want your wife to look like the girl that got away, women that are out of your league, that don't want you back, you need to take a moment and look at that, because that's not normal. You should want a woman that's natural. My spouse is natural. She doesn't color her hair. She doesn't have any lip filler. She doesn't do any surgeries, anything like that. She's 100% natural. No body modifications. Same as me. Natural, no body modifications. I'm her type and she's mine. It's mutual. We both desire each other physically. It's natural and it's necessary. Not to mention, we also have compatibility. We share the same values, the same lifestyle, the same belief system, so we can really connect and bond. But the physical attraction is the starter point. This is what I want you guys to get down to pat. Get a piece of paper and ask yourself, what hair color do you like in a woman? Maybe it's brown. Maybe it's black. Maybe it's green eyes. Maybe it's brown eyes. There's beautiful black women. There's beautiful Asian women. There's beautiful mixed women. There's beautiful women of all sorts. And for the ladies, there's good looking men of all sorts. Everyone has a type. If you are the exception, take note of that. Sit on it, think on it, pray on it. Give yourself some time to see where that's really coming from. Or is it just a fantasy? Is it something you're just craving? Can you look past the physical beauty once you're with them and actually want to get to know them? Or are you just stuck on how attractive they are? Because that's also unnatural. That's limerent. So ask yourself, okay? If say you're watching this, maybe you're a black guy and you want a beautiful black woman. Maybe she has curly black hair. Maybe she has dark brown eyes. Maybe she's your race, whatever it is. So figure out what it is, write it down and take note of it. And make this the standard that you don't settle on. Because let's say if I was to be single and I was with, let's say, a woman that was Asian or of an African descent, it wouldn't be fair for me. Even though there are some stunning women in those races, she would never be my type. I would always feel like I'm settling for her. I would never really give her all my heart. I would never really be able to open up or want to be intimate with her when we're married, because it's like, I don't really like you. I don't really want you. You're just not for me. Okay, I've just shown you some of the pictures of me and my spouse. Some of you may look at her and think nothing of her. She's not your type. Fair enough. She is to me, and I am to her. That's all that matters. You're looking for one woman that thinks you're a 10 out of 10, and vice versa. That's it. You're each other's type. And if I was to date a woman of a different race, it wouldn't be fair to them. It's not fair, because I would hurt her. She'd want me, I wouldn't want her. Now she has low self-esteem. Now I dump her and she thinks there's something wrong with her because he was never into me. No, I just was never for you. So the right woman is out there for you. You got to get this down to the pad. Okay? Because it is right for you to choose a woman that is your type. Because she deserves to feel desired. She deserves to feel loved by you and attracted by you, and vice versa. If not, you're not going to make each other feel special. This is what separates husband and wife from any other type of relationship. You don't find your friends attractive. You shouldn't even find other women attractive. You should just find your wife attractive. And for that to last, she's got to be your type, and vice versa. It goes both ways. Get very serious on this. Remove your issues and write it down. I'm curious to see what your type is. Let me know down below in the comment section. So, this is why everyone has a type. I hope this video has been of great value to you. Share this with anyone who will find value in it. And if you are serious about mastering relationships and joining my course, book a call with me down below. The link will be in the description, or head over to my website, relearningrelationships.com. Fill out the questionnaire and book a 30-minute session with me to see if relationship mastery is eligible and suitable for you. With that said, hope you all have a wonderful day. God bless all of you and your families. I'll see you all in the next one.